Hi, this tutorial is going to be for people that would like to maybe change a header on their website or on their blog, or maybe you're considering a new template to start a new website or blog or rechange the one you have. So what I did was I took a screenshot of this template from the internet, and this is just a basic template that shows the layout of a website, and I want to see beforehand how this is going to really work with my business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the header, and I'm going to change it to a different image, and I'm going to show you a couple of tricks to do that. So you took a screenshot, and you want to make sure that before you take the screenshot you press Command 0 so that you have the real dimension of the website, that it's not zoomed in or zoomed out. Once you open it in Photoshop, so you come here to Photoshop and you press File and you click on Open and you open your screenshot, you want to make sure you have rulers on. If you don't see your ruler, you either go to View up here in the main menu and click on Ruler, or you can press Command R and that brings your rulers in or out. So once you have your ruler, you want to click on the top left corner and you want to drag your mouse up onto the whatever edge or header badge dimension that you want to get on. So here I lose my click there, and that makes that area be 0. Either the horizontal ruler is 0 and the vertical ruler is 0 as well. So once I have that 0 out, I have a better idea of what's the measurement in inches for this header. So this is approximately 13th by 7th. And then I'm going to drag in guides. So to drag the guides, all you have to do is click in the ruler and drag them out, and then a little blue line appears. I'm going to drag them and I'm going to surround my header with these guides. Once I do that, I want to make sure that I have the snap feature, the snap to feature on. And so you want to make sure you go up to View in the main menu and the snap is checked, or maybe the snap to guides is checked. What that does is attracts sort of like a magnetic effect to whatever you put surrounding your guides. So for example, I'm going to use my marquee tool underneath the vector tool in your toolbox, and I'm going to drag the same size rectangle of the header, and so it snaps to those guides and makes sure that it's the exact same dimension. Once I have that, I double click in my background layer because I want to start building layers, so I unlock the background, and that just brings me to layer 0. And then I click down here to create a solid color adjustment layer, or mask layer with a solid color. So I click here, and that area just becomes a solid color because that's the selection I had. So I'm going to pick a gray just to have it as a base, and I'm going to name that layer base. So that's where I'm going to work from. And now everything that I bring into this file, it's going to be clipped masked to this layer so that I have a great view of how the website would look if I would actually consider this template. So I'm going to bring the images I have for my header, and those images I have are Paris images. So right here, these are the two that I'm going to use, and I'm going to drag them to my Photoshop icon. So once I drag them to my Photoshop icon, they open immediately, and these are really large images. So I could either reduce them here, or I can reduce them after I drag them into the file I'm working on. So I'm going to reduce them after I drag them. So I drag the first one, and this window is telling me that the photo I'm dragging this into is a JPEG RGB file, which is perfect because it should be RGB mode because I'm going to use it for website only. This is not going to be printed, so that's okay for me. So I just pressed OK in that window, and now to make this image smaller, I just click on Command T, T from transform, and then you stand in this little dots that the picture has. Once you click Command transform, they have these little arms, and you drag them down or up, and that transforms the picture. If you keep your shift key pressed, then it's great because that won't stretch your picture, so it will keep proportions. And then I'll do the same thing with the other image. Say OK to that window. Command T to transform it, make it smaller. I still don't know how I'm gonna lay them in, but this is more or less the size I need. Now I'm gonna zoom in. You either use your zoom in tool here or you press Command plus. So here's a good trick. To make these images only show in the area of the header, you stand between these two layers. You know, we have our base layer and then you have the photo layer. So you stand in between those two, you hover your mouse in there, and then you press Option on your keyboard, and then your mouse becomes this little two circles. And then you click in between the two layers, and that makes a clipping mask, sorry, a clipping layer clip to the mask, to the layer you have below. And then you do the same thing to the other one. So you press Option and you click in between the two layers. And so they're in there. Now you have a better view if this is actually going to work with the colors or the arrangement that you have on your website. And you can still move this around. I'm going to move this one around because I really want to see the tower, the whole tower show on my header. So again, Command T for transform. And then I'm going to move this one around to maybe make it smaller right there. Now I'm going to create, again, using our marquee tool, which is our selector, I'm going to create a little solid color layer here just as a background because I want to add text. And this is very busy here and I want my text to show up better. So again, I go down here and I create a solid color. And once you go out of your mix or pick solid color window, the dropper, if you click on any area of your photo, it allows you to pretty much get that same color. So I'm going to click up here, which is the brown I need. That's kind of the brown I need. Still too dark and I want to do something a little bit more settled. So I'm going to go up here in my layer window panel and I'm going to say just reduce the opacity so it's a little bit see-through. And then I'm going to do a blending mode. I'm going to make it maybe soft light. Or maybe pin light works better. Pin light is nice. Hard mix. You can play with this ones and see which one works best for you. Solid color, it's nice. Overlay, lighten, it's too light. Let's use the soft light. Yeah, something like that. Or maybe multiply, smaller. And the nice thing about creating layers like this is that you can always double click in this color and then change your color. Maybe make it lighter or change whatever color you want and see how other colors would work. Okay, so now I'm going to add the text and I click on the T for type, and that's the tool that's going to allow me to do the text. So the first phrase I'm going to type is, we bring you same thing, if you want to enlarge it, you can press Command T. And here in the character window, you can change the color. Here I'm going to change the color for this, the same color that the photo has on the background or the illustration. So the first phrase is going to say, we bring you, and then the second one is going to say, back in time. but I'm going to change the font for the second one. And I'm going to use a script font. Script fonts match nicely with all caps fonts. Maybe I'm going to make the first one a little bit larger. And you can also play with your box and adjust it to the text you want it. If you unclick the little eye here, then you see how it would look without that. So I think this is it. It works well with this template. Now, if I have this, I'm going to close out these photos here because I don't need them anymore. But now, let's say I approve of this and I just need this image separate from this file so that I can upload it into my blog or my website. On the back end of it, maybe it's WordPress or Blogger or any other back end of your website, all you have to do is recreate a duplicate of this. But to do that, you press on history here. If you don't have this palettes here showing, you can always bring the palettes out by going on the main menu window, and then you bring all the palettes you want. So history, you click on the bottom icon of history that has like a little window view, and that duplicates whatever you have in your file. And you're duplicating it because you always want to keep a layered file of your work in case you need to come back. So for this one, we're going to unclick the view of the bottom layer, and we're just going to keep the header on. And this is the work we have. This is the file we need to upload into the website. So you press Command Option T, and that trims it. So you say to Photoshop, trim everything that's around it that has nothing, and trim the top, the bottom, the left, and the right. And once you trim all of it, this doesn't matter much. So the important thing is that you're trimming out everything. And so you press OK, and Photoshop will just make the file you need to upload into your website. So this is the file you need to upload into your website. All you have to do now is flatten it and make it a better file for web and devices. So you go here on File, and you say Save for Web and Devices. And what this does is optimizes the file so it's not heavy on your website, and it makes it good for web view. So you press there, and this window appears. Sometimes this window takes a long time, and you have options for JPEG, PNGs, or GIF. You want to be looking at JPEG most of the time. And these controls are not really as important unless you're really doing something more complicated. But for the sake of this tutorial, all you need to do is that optimized and make sure it's in a either high or very high option. The 85 is good. And then you make sure the image looks good on the preview, and then you press save. And you save it on your computer, whatever you know it's going to be. And that's the image you're going to upload into your either new website if you get your template, or onto your old website. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed and learned a lot.